Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Full Force News Burst, brought to you by GeneralsJoes.com, with me as your host, Chris Eats Lots of Pizza McLeod, aka Diagnostic 80. On this instalment of your absolutely favourite kind of burst, I'm joined by Jesse DeStasio and Nicholas Fung of Toy Pizza to talk about their awesome Kickstarter project, which has already reached its initial funding goal, Action Figure of the Month Club. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this news burst. 5 days is all it took for the new Toy Pizza Kickstarter campaign Action Figure of the Month Club to successfully fund, and we are already seeing stretch goals reached as well. I spoke to Jesse DeStasio last time about the project, so feel free to go and check that burst out on any of our platforms. But tonight we have also managed to corral the other half of Toy Pizza, Nicholas Fung, to discuss the project with too. Thanks for jumping on, guys. Congratulations. How are you both feeling after hitting that initial goal so soon?
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I think it's a look, if I had any self-esteem, I think I would feel very satisfied. I am like, intellectually, I understand that is great, but ambition-wise, I'm like, let's go. We got to get to triple digits.
Yeah, I know. I can definitely understand that, especially when you've already, you set those kind of stretch goals kind of up for you and everything. I totally understand that. I mean, I spoke with you, Jesse, about your background and involvement on the last burst, so it's only fair to do the same to you, Nikki. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Sure. My whole spiel about this is that if you asked me, I guess now it's 6 years ago, I'd always say 5.
Right.
6 years ago, if you asked me, hey, Nikki, would you ever make your own toy? And I would probably say, no, I don't think so. But it wasn't until I met Jesse, and my day job is working as a video editor for Frederator. We have a handful of YouTube channels, and Jesse came in and started doing licensing, and I would see him repeatedly. And it wasn't until I was in the office at the same time as him, and I was wearing an Ed 209 shirt, that he was like, oh, let's talk to this guy. And he was like showing me some cool stuff regarding RoboCop. And I was just like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. We do a live stream for Bravest Warriors. We were doing a 24-hour live stream to count down. So we blocked out hours of time. Yeah. And for one of those hours, we're like, yo, let's get Jesse on the show just to talk about toys. And that kind of was like pilot episode of Toy Pizza.
Awesome.
So then in 2013, Frederator was like, hey, we're looking for new shows. I pitched him this idea of Toy Pizza. And I'm like, what if like Jesse was like a rotating guest? And I'm like, wait, what if he was just like on the show all the time?
Yeah.
And so they were interested, and they were like, I want to see that. And they were nice enough to be like, go ahead, make the channel as if it was your own, and we'll actually help you by posting your episodes on our already established channel, which is something that like any YouTuber can dream of, especially nowadays. It's like really hard to get a channel going. So right away, like we just kind of like fell into this. And it was like, I knew I liked to edit videos. That's like where my passion was. And I knew I loved toys. Like I grew up collecting pretty much everything. Toy Biz, X-Men, your Spider-Man toys, and then Star Wars, and then Power Rangers. And it was just like so eye-opening to meet someone like Jesse, not just like him showing me toy lines and artists that I have never known, but just like he knows his stuff. He's someone that's been in the industry for quite some time. So when we gathered a decent following, well, like what's next? Like, all right, you have tens of thousands of subscribers. What's next? And then Jesse had this idea, like crazy idea, like let's make action figures. And I was just like, sure, sign me up. Like it sounded amazing. Like, I was kind of going along for the ride, and just like, again, it's very eye-opening. It's like a roller coaster, but not so many downs. It's mainly ups. Just like, it's so exciting because, again, I just want to edit videos.
Yeah. And
all of a sudden now we have fans all over the world. I've always enjoyed and appreciated like a sense of like community, like in toy collecting, where I also collected sneakers. So I would meet or meet all these people all over the world.
Yeah.
But now with Knights of the Slice, it's just like I am talking to people regularly in the DMs of my personal and the Toy Pizza account on just about Knights of the Slice, and they're not even hungry to like, when's the next drop? What secrets can you tell me? It's just like they are just like the coolest guys. And if you haven't joined already, and if you're listening, just check out the Facebook group. There's actually absolutely no hate in that group. Everyone is just like so Nice. And yeah, so that's a little bit, that's like the 5-minute spiel of me and Toy Pizza and how I met Jesse. And now we're in Kickstarter number 2.
Absolutely. And I mean, you guys, like as we just said at the beginning, Jesse, you're still feeling stress and a bit of anxiety with it, but there must be a level of, oh, we've hit that quick, thank God, like move on now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want to sound ungracious about the patronage, right? Because it's been amazing.
Of course.
I think I'm literally hitting refresh every second. I don't have a lot of boundaries or healthy habits with this campaign. So I'm just sort of like thinking every second of every day, how do I push this? How can I how can I make this bigger and better? But yeah, behind the scenes, I actually committed myself to the tooling for the first figure, which is an expensive endeavor and is probably about $20,000 out of my own pocket.
Ouch.
So I was sort of placing a bet that we would fund, and I started the production before the campaign launched. And so having the campaign actually work and having that bet come through is great. And that's a huge relief of pressure because I would just, I don't know, I would sell some of my toy collection to make it work anyway. But there's definitely, there's a moment of elation for me. And then it's like, all right, back to work. What's next? What's the next stretch goal? How do we get there?
I imagine the next thing is trying to get back all those toys you sold to to fund it. I mean, we've seen a few stretch goals so far. Could you take us through what's been unlocked and what you've revealed as well, please?
Well, we obviously funded and we got the Desert Rat, which is the homage and love letter to Action Force.
Thank you.
So we're excited about that. We did that just for you, Chris.
Thanks. Appreciated. Thank you.
You and Derek, the only two sort of expats in America. And then today we unlocked the Matt Dowdy head, which is a character called the Courager.
Yeah.
And he is a World War I and World War II veteran who is British, like, the fine people of this earth. The finest people.
Correct answer.
He's sort of, he's in the African campaign and gets sucked into the Vector and travels through time and space and gains these odd powers and becomes this sort of shadowy figure in the Night of the Slice mythos. And it's only fitting that character is, his head sculpt is based off of Matt Dowdy, the creator of the Glyos system.
Amazing.
So we unlocked that at 22. And then, Nikki, why don't you talk about what our next goal is?
So first, I want to say that hitting our goal of 20,000 was just like insane because our first Kickstarter, we like barely funded for 10.
Yeah.
So that set my expectations. Like, okay, like, can we get 10? Like, I know Knights of the Slice is now established and we have fans, but the whole thing about this campaign is like, who else can we attract?
Yeah.
Well, our first day I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then day 3, I'm like, oh my God, like 75%. And then to hit 20,000 and with 25 days left, that's where me being overwhelmed came in. And I was just like, wow, like we're definitely onto something. People really like 1, Glyos, and 2, would love to get an action figure surprise monthly.
Who wouldn't? Seriously.
Exactly, yeah. So we hit 20, then 22, and we locked the Courager head. And then Rift Killer, one of my colorways that I designed, as soon as there was a noise about the Rift Killer, Jesse was telling me about it, I was like, you know what? This is like a good opportunity to do one of those tokusatsu like split colorways.
Yeah.
I've like toyed with homages and colorways of some of my favorite toys and characters. And it's just so funny because anytime I would send something to Jesse, he'd be like, no homages. And then this one.
It's true. I think that, and sorry to go off on a tangent here, but I think that homages for the independent toy scene are cliche, and I think that it's very easy to do a He-Man colorway. It's very expected to do a Ninja Turtle colorway. And my problem with homages is you're not pushing forward your own brand or your own identity. You're not telling a story that's your own. So I've always felt like they are cilantro, right? You just want to dash. Because too much cilantro spoils a dish.
I agree with that, yeah, totally.
And I'll tell you right now, I hate cilantro. So Jesse is very smart regarding homages, and it's completely true, because you want to do something original. Yeah. And for the Rift Killer, I just couldn't help myself, because it was just such a good canvas for this colorway. So at 25,000, you get to unlock the Meta Ruta colorway, which is And it's funny because I shared the design and Jesse did some tweaks, and we were debating on like whether or not to do the shot in red or blue.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until actually Matt Dowdy saw it and he was like, you should do it in silver. And so I'm really excited about that because I'm like, that actually makes a lot more sense. And again, with the Rift Killer with a double head, when you swivel, turn the head around and you get that extra head, I just think it looks great with either face.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm looking at it right now as we speak, and so will our viewers when they're watching the video as well. Very, very cool looking figure. And then next up is the Device Ninja. That looks pretty cool too.
Yeah, so this is the one I think has really energized people today. We had a very good day in terms of pledges. Typically, you kind of fall off a cliff, but we had a little bit of an uptick today.
Awesome.
Which I would attribute to the Device Ninja. Device Ninja is very interesting for a couple reasons. Canonically, if that's the right use of the word, canonically?
Yeah, I think it's right. Yeah.
Did I say that right?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Canonically, we have the Knights of the Slice, who are a hybrid of a mascot and a bodyguard for delivery food of a pizza chain, right?
Yeah.
So the Device Ninja is the version of that for a ramen chain, brought to you by this big Japanese conglomerate that owns all these other, weapons developments and security systems and a chain of ramen, of course. So this is a natural enemy and counterpoint to the Knight of the Slice.
Genius.
It's also interesting because this is a entirely contemporary character who previously had nothing to do with Knights of the Slice. This was not something that was designed when the campaign was designed. This is very, very late out of the gate. I was just I think I was at Matt Dowdy's farm this summer, and we were sort of talking about like, what are the motifs we love that haven't been done yet by people like Marauders or Boss Fight or Four Horsemen, who all do great work and we can't compete with. And there was a sliver of time in the late 80s and the early 90s where cybernetic ninjas were really popular. There was a Super Nintendo game and an arcade game called Cyber Ninjas, I think, something very uninspired. And then also Strider, obviously, played in that world too. And we just sort of were like, we couldn't get that idea out of our heads. And I had Ant Suck start sculpting it. He went way over the top, sculpted 1 million heads and accessories, and it was just one of those things where everything was sort of firing on every cylinder. And he was actually a very late in the campaign unlock. But last week, I just sort of felt like, okay, I know I have a good idea on our high and low ending for this campaign. We got to move him up so that he's the next big marketing push, because I think this is, it's a very different look. I think it can get us a very different customer, but it's also very interesting for those people who are already sort of squires of the slice,
Yeah.
And that's how he came to be.
The tactics you have to kind of think about with Kickstarter is something that I think a lot of people don't really take into consideration when they start a campaign.
Yeah.
And that element of having to kind of rearrange the pieces on the board like almost every day,
every day.
Yeah, to kind of make sure you're hitting what you need to hit. And yeah, the thought of having to go through a Kickstarter campaign just terrifies me. So like the thought of it being out of your hands while people are pledging and possibly taking their pledges away at times for personal reasons or whatever. But the fact that the thing could go up and down at any moment, like that would just destroy me. Just in relation to actually the stretch goals and a couple of questions that popped up to me through our Facebook page when I posted the original news burst that we did, Jesse. Could you guys explain what the goals actually equate to in terms of the campaign? Is it more a case of having a glimpse into some of the characters that will be delivered, or are these added bonuses to the already planned 12 figures, if you catch my drift?
So the entire... I have to sort of go macro before micro. So the entire campaign is nebulous, right?
Right.
For very many factors. This is a liquid. This is not a solid by any stretch.
Sure.
So my answer to these things, usually to the chagrin of people asking, is I don't know.
Okay.
I would say if the campaign ended today, what I could absolutely guarantee is that we already have 5 figures that exist already.
Yeah.
And now we've unlocked a 6th, that is the Desert Rat.
Yeah.
So I could say with 100% certainty, the Desert Rat will be one dedicated month.
Yeah.
And then you would see probably 2 iterations of each style of the tooling we already have.
I see.
To kind of fill out the year. Now, in the case of Desert Rat, there is a bonus that has been unlocked. So everybody is going to get a Desert Rat, and everybody's going to get the bonus head that goes along with the Desert Rat. Beyond that, I don't know, and it's all literally going to be decided, at the end of this year.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm just frank about, this is a campaign for people who like surprises and sort of want to be on this crazy adventure because, designing and shipping product takes 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
We're going to do this. We're literally putting the tracks down as the train's coming.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of crazy and insane, but I think we can do it.
Yeah. And strangely enough, that is clarification, even if you don't think it is. To the question.
One more third important part. So we have the monthly character, right? And we know people are going to get 12 of those throughout the year. We have the bonuses that are going to be free that are, things like heads or new arms or accessories or weapons.
Yeah.
And then we also have store unlocks. So a perfect example of this is the Army Builder Desert Rats that I showed.
Yeah.
So it'll be, we're kind of emulating the old plastic army figurines.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get one for free, but as a backer, you're going to have access to our post-campaign store, probably through Backer Kit.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to select as many of those as you want.
Cool.
And
that's dangerous.
Yeah, of course.
For me, I'm thinking for me.
So, there's sort of three things. There's the core figure, there's any free bonuses that go along with that figure, and then there's going to be other unlocks that will be available in the store, and you can order as many as you like. And I think unlocks will probably be available on our current e-commerce at some point way in the future, well beyond people having fulfilled, the campaign.
Yeah.
But if you really want to like I want to build a trench scene, tan desert rat versus the sort of traditional green desert rats, and I want hundreds of them. So hopefully other people do too.
Well, you'll just be able to take them from the factory, and no one will ever know. No, this is it's all great. And I love those desert rats that you've done in those colours are so cool. I can't wait to see those in hand. Actually, I don't know why I like the block colour even more so than I think the painted one. It's just really neat. I like that angle. It's very cool.
I've always felt that way too. I think there's something
satisfying, isn't there? There's very satisfying.
There's
feeling.
There's a purity to the sculpt in solid casted unpainted figures. And that's why I offer what we call material boys on the store, which are just unpainted figures that people tend to like to customize.
Oh, cool.
I've always seen in my head just rows of unpainted figures in every hue, a gradient of them. And we dabbled with that a little bit in our clutter art exhibit, but we didn't quite have enough critical mass of different styles to achieve it. But one day I just want, I want an entire shelf that is, we start at white and we work our way all the way down. Yeah,
that would be very satisfying to as a visual, definitely. I mean, with any luck, the campaign will keep growing, hopefully exceed what you guys have planned for the stretch goals. I mean, do you have any tentative planning in place for that eventuality?
Well, we have all the way up to $145,000 of unlocks. Again, everything's very fluid, so a lot of these accessory unlocks and entire character unlocks have been moved back and forth. But there is, 12 or 13 sculpts that are done and ready and could be sent to China tomorrow to sort of begin production. So I think we're pretty well covered. We have a ceiling and we're pretty well covered. I don't think we would run out of designs with the reasonably achievable maximum we have here. Yeah.
Have you both been kind of designing, like you're doing different colorways and stuff like that in the time since the Kickstarters kicked off and to now? Are you still, is that like constantly happening all the time? Are you kind of coming to each other and going like, check this out on a daily basis?
I would definitely say that I've tinkered with a handful of designs. Like we were on the topic of a desert rat and just the material boys. Like I would love to see tan and I would love to see army green. I've actually been trying to get just a regular blank knight in a tan or an army green or even brown because I like to customize the knights as camo knights.
Nice.
Especially with tan and army green, it's like one less color I would have to paint. But then, with the unlocks happening, now that we have desert rat, I'm actually thinking, maybe a design or colorway might work better on a desert rat, say. instead of a Knights of the Slice. So it's for me, it's like that. So I have a lot of ideas in my head. I know Jesse's always doodling, and his advice is just to do printouts and just color it with a marker. I like to just do it digitally in Photoshop.
Yeah. And Jesse, I saw images of your kind of designs when you were, like a young kid, basically, and how those have been developed into the kind of line. Can we expect to see a few more of those in the Action Figure of the Month Club?
Yeah, I think so. I think
you don't have to tell us what they are, obviously.
Yeah. I don't want to give too much away, but I have an entire banker's box of character designs from, when I was under the age of 10. And it's all, I'll be honest, a lot of it's like the Rocket Man, which was a Rocketeer ripoff. Or
No homages.
Yeah. Gray Panther. It was a lot of very thinly veiled ripoffs. But yeah, there's definitely, that's always kind of the driving force for me, is like these old ideas were so pure and so unsophisticated. How can I get more and more of these characters out there? And there's definitely going to be, these old heroes, as I call them, they're definitely going to be making an appearance in the Action Figure of the Month Club.
Awesome. And finally, just to bring it to the people that have done a lot to help this, that is the fan base for Knights of the Slice, Toy Pizza, etc., etc. How happy are you with the fact that this fan base has grown so much over the period of time that you guys have been doing this? How much do you owe these guys? Has it surprised you, the kind of reaction that these guys have had in, say, like the groups with some of the amazing customs and some of the things they do with the figures? I mean, how is your relationship with the fan base?
So currently we owe our fans $22,144. I would like to say that, Toy Pizza started first and then Knights of the Slice came out of that. It's just funny to think about that our hashtag Toy Pizza, there's a handful of people that use it.
Yeah. And
I think it's just for just networking or just trying to get your photos out there. We have 62,000 uses of the hashtag Toy Pizza. Wow. And again, I don't think a lot of people realize that, one, it's a YouTube channel, or two, that they have our own action figure line.
Yeah.
But that being said, Knights of the Slice actually has a pretty decent following as well. And that's where all the gold is, because people just think of the craziest thing for our figures. And I know Glios has opened up the opportunity to do a ton of different builds, and I love seeing that. But really, it's crazy that people all day are customizing, like you said.
Yeah.
People not only are making their own Glios builds, they'll cast their own resin pieces, or shout out to Chibi Creations. He's just always posting 3D pieces that he wants to make, and he'll customize and cast his own heads and stuff like that. And that's just unreal. With our 1,000 toys synthetic Knights of the Slice, the Knights of the Synth, it came with Jesse and my head in it. And, I just imagine that people are taking them and just throwing them out, but people would take the time to customize them, either to look just like me or Jesse and paint them, or, I've seen, I believe it was Joshua Mike who did an undead version.
Nice.
So going back to your question is how much do we owe them? I think honestly, it's everything. The whole lifespan of Toy Pizza and even Knights of the Slice is just, the foundation is the fans.
Yeah.
We had viewers first. We had commenters who would just say something on every video, and then follow us on Instagram and comment on our pics. And to just see that, this, again, fan art, Glios builds, even customized clothing that people do for their figures and displays, it kind of is, it's so heartwarming and fulfilling. That's the 100%. That's my favorite thing about Knights of the Slice. Seeing it funded, that's great, but it's just knowing that it's coming from these fans that just appreciate this, and also all ages. We have young kids and kids of people our age as well, and just I love seeing that daily, whether it's on Instagram or in the Knights of the Slice fan group. I love seeing the photos, and I love just seeing what people are always doing. One last shout out I have to say is AC Custom Figures. He made a custom head of me with beautifully swept bangs, and I think that's just amazing. Again, it's amazing, and
the hair was lovely.
Yeah, and I can't express just how much my gratitude just for how amazing our fans are. We really do have the best fans, and I say that all the time.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would say, the fans of Knights of the Slice, having that group of people, it's a profound thing for me. I was working this sort of not so glamorous Hollywood job dealing with major film studios, and it was lucrative, but it was soulless. And in December of last year, I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore, and I'm just going to focus on making toys and Knights of the Slice. And I didn't know if there was a path there. I didn't know if there was enough critical mass to kind of support such a folly, and it did. It was. It's I'm still here now, and I don't regret leaving that job just to sort of work on the nights full time. And I get up early and I get up excited and I run down to check the Facebook group, and I'm thinking all day long about what photos to share. And then on top of it, to have, people go to a Patreon and pay additional money that's hard earned just to, hang out with me and see behind the scenes and get advanced looks. Like, I'm a very sarcastic person, but this is, I'm just usually at a loss for words for what an impact it's had on me, and it's just profound. That's the only way I can think of to communicate it.
Well, that's lovely, and probably a really nice way to end the episode as well. But guys, thank you for jumping on, and congratulations again for this initial funding. Like, it's brilliant. Hopefully we'll see more and more of this kind of pouring in, and again, just all the luck to you guys.
Thank you so much. I just want to say real quick, we do have within our target range the first female Knight of the Slice, Cyber Mama. So she'll start becoming active around $40,000. We can get there. It's not unreasonable based on our current trajectory. So cool. I would say if you're already a backer, throw in another $1 just to help get our numbers up. And if you're not a backer, the sooner you join us, the sooner you'll see behind the curtain and everything we're working on. And if, I'm thrilled to death we got Desert Rat done. I believe we're going to get Device Ninja very quickly. And then if we can just check off Cyber Mama and have finally a female member of the group, it's going to be fantastic.
I totally have to agree. We've kind of dubbed Device Knight as the villain as the Slice, and we've been trying to figure out a villain and also a female character for the longest time. So Cyber Mama is definitely next on our list. We posted a teaser on Instagram for Device Ninja, and it easily got some of the most likes that we've ever had this year regarding Knights of the Slice posts. So yeah, let's just keep chugging along on the Kickstarter. And my favorite thing to say about the Kickstarter is then if you're not going to back, just at least share it with your friends, your family. And what Jesse said, if you did donate and you want to just throw in an extra $1, I might actually throw in $2 because currently my pledge is only $1.
I didn't even know you're even allowed to back your own, but I suppose obviously you can if you use a different IP. I'm kidding.
I'm banning Nikki from the campaign. I just decided.
Yeah, this is my third ban.
Cut him out. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you again for you, Jesse, and lovely to meet you, Nikki, as well. Like I said, good luck with everything. We'll keep pushing it on the full force as well. And any Desert Rat stuff, I'll keep pushing as well, obviously, because it's just awesome, and that relation to Action Force is amazing. But anyway, thank you so much. That's it for this instalment of the Full Force News Burst. Thank you to my wonderful guests, Jesse D'Stasio and Nicholas Fung from Toy Pizza. See you next time, and as always, Full Force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on Twitter @TheFullForce, liking the Facebook page facebook.com/TheFullForce, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on either of these platforms with feedback, questions or to say, who do you think you are? A serious operation now? No, not even close. Look out for more of these news bursts that we are posting on the Facebook page from now on. Full Force.